celebrating 97 years here in Atlantic City, Miss America 1921. Before we begin and introduce our host today, I just wanted to share a little bit with you about the Miss America organization and our scholarship arm, the Miss America Foundation. For those of you that don't know, the Miss America Foundation was recently named by bestcolleges.org as the #1 largest scholarship provider for young women in the entire country, awarding over $6 million at the local, state, and national levels. And what's so important about our scholarship program is that these young women can use their money to help pay down student debt. Forbes recently reported that according to the New York Federal Reserve's second quarter data in 2017, there are more than 44 million Americans who carry roughly $1.3 trillion with a T, trillion dollars in student loans. This is a national epidemic, and the fact that the Miss America organization and the Miss America Foundation is empowering young women through scholarships, we hope to help do our part in eradicating this national issue. But Miss America is not just a competition that you'll see on Sunday night. It's not just a beautiful face. It's not just a one-time show. Miss America is a movement, a year-round movement of empowering young women to be whatever they want to be. And that's why we're here today. Without further ado, I'd love to introduce our incredible host, Chris Harrison and Sage Steele. Let's begin with Chris. Chris Harrison began his television career by covering local sports in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The Dallas, Texas native went on to Oklahoma City University on a soccer scholarship and then made the natural transition to sportscasting with a local station. During his 6 years, he worked his way up the ranks from part-time sportscaster to weekend sportscaster, and he also had the opportunity to cover hard news stories. After moving to Los Angeles in 1999 and landing a job as host of HGTV's Designer Challenge, he went on to host ABC's hit romance reality series that I'm sure you've heard of, The Bachelor and the Bachelorette. He's also hosted ABC's popular reality shows Bachelor Pad, Bachelor in Paradise, and After Paradise. In 2015, Chris was named the new host of the nationally syndicated game show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And since 2011, he's co-hosted ABC's live coverage of the Miss America competition. In a departure from his many broadcast endeavors, Harrison turned to the written page as he penned his first book, an emotional, passionate, and suspenseful novel entitled The Perfect Letter. The romantic novel was published by HarperCollins in May of 2015. In his spare time, Chris still plays soccer and has become addicted to golf. He's developed a great appreciation for the weather and lifestyle of Southern California and spends as much time as possible outdoors with his 15-year-old son Joshua, great name, and 13-year-old daughter Taylor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Chris Harrison. Our co-host, Sage Steele, is one of ESPN's most popular and respected commentators, currently serving as the lead host for SportsCenter on the Road and is the Monday through Thursday anchor of SportsCenter AM, the 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern edition of ESPN's news and information program. Previously, she hosted NBA Countdown on ESPN and ABC from 2013 through the 2016 to 17 NBA season. She joined ESPN in 2007 and served as a regular anchor of SportsCenter until 2013. She's also hosted the Scripps National Spelling Bee from 2010 to 2013. And in addition to SportsCenter, she's contributed to First Take, Mike and Mike, and has been a guest co-host on ESPN2's Sports Nation. Beyond her work for ESPN, she's been a featured guest and host on ABC's The View. And in 2015, she added Mommy Blogger to her job portfolio, contributing several stories to the Disney-owned Babbel. She's been featured on Jimmy Kimmel and profiled by the Rolling Stone, Wall Street Journal, Vibe, and Huffington Post, to name a few. She's covered the Indianapolis Colts, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Baltimore Ravens earlier on in her career to get to where she is now. And we're so pleased she returns for her second year to host the 2018 Miss America competition. Ladies and gentlemen, Sage Steele. We have a dynamic duo to my left and your right, and you're going to see some incredible moments the telecast on Sunday night as these two do their thing in hosting this year's competition. We've got an incredible lineup. We've got lots of special surprises for you, and it's going to be an incredible show. Chris, what does it feel like to be back for this year's competition?
It's always a pleasure to be back. Thanks for being here today. My 9th year to be here at Miss America, and I'm always happy to be back where it all started here at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. There's something very special. I was just walking through actually during rehearsals, and there's just something special about this building, something special about this place, and coming back and hosting this. It's not lost on me how iconic this is, how historical this competition is, and so to be even a small part of it each year, it's an honor. There's nothing short of that. It really is an honor to be a part of it. And I love having my good friend Sage Steele with me back again this year. We make a great team. At least that's what I tell her. And I'm glad she decided to come back and join me again this year.
And Sage, for your 2nd year back, what was it like the first year? What's exciting about coming back for this year?
I was scared to death the first year. And the first day we arrived in Atlantic City, Chris and I came over and, we're just having meetings and script read-throughs. And he said, you got to go out on the stage and just feel it. I was like, okay. And you walk out and I was kind of speechless, to be honest with you. And he had warned me and said, okay, it feels good now. Wait till tomorrow when you walk out, as the show's starting. I was in awe, and I still am. This year I feel a little more confident because, listen, I was the rookie. I didn't want to mess it up, next to him. No pressure. But I tell everybody how much it means to me personally because, number one, I'm a sports fan, and competition is my life. And that's exactly what this is. But number two, my grandmother, I only saw her a couple times a year because Dad was military, moved all over the world, and every year it ended up that we were visiting her in Massachusetts at the time of the Miss America competition. So as a little girl, I watched this in awe with my late grandmother. So when I got this call last year, I was like, are you sure? Are you sure you want me to do this? So it is awesome. And it's honestly, in the 22 years I've been in the business, the best thing I've done because of what it means. Because of what it means with these ladies.
So let's talk about, and thank you for your kind words. Let's talk about your work as a sportscaster with ESPN. Chris, you got your start, obviously, as a sportscaster. What was it like co-hosting ESPN Sports Center together? Let's talk about that.
I owe one to my friend Sage. So yeah, a couple days ago, Sage got the wheels in motion and asked me a while ago if I would come in and host Sports Center with her. And as an old sportscaster, ESPN is where it's at. I mean, that is, as high as it gets. So to be able to go in and not only sit across from her, but to be on that Sports Center stage, to be there in Bristol, Connecticut, it was a treat. It was fun. It was, I was a kid in a candy store. It's kind of like coming here. It really is. She mentioned that feeling of walking out on the Miss America stage. And, our job as hosts is to shine as bright of a light on the 51 amazing women that you're going to see on stage tomorrow that are competing for the crown. And that's really our job. Stay out of the way, shine a light on them, make things go smoothly, and let's have a good night. That's the job of a host. And if all goes well, then it's a good show and you've done a good job. And so that, going up to Sports Center or doing this, it's that high of live television when you're kind of walking without a net, and you're never sure what can happen. And tomorrow night, something inevitably will go wrong, something will go crazy, something, and we'll be there to pick up the pieces and clean it up and make it look smooth.
Well, let's talk about that too, because if you think about the Miss America competition, we don't call it a pageant because it is a competition. Given your unique perspectives, coming from a sportscaster background, what do you see in the competition that other people may not in terms of the level of competition, the competitors, the stamina that it takes to perform?
Last year, again, being a rookie, I didn't truly know what to expect because I've always been an outsider, literally watching on TV. What stood out to me so much was the moment I walked on stage during rehearsals, and every woman, well, I was standing next to him, so we know why there were cheers and oohs and ahs, but I was shocked at how friendly they were to each other. I come from this crazy sports background and in locker rooms, and I mean, even guys don't like each other, but the women were so genuinely supportive of each other. It just kind of took me off guard. Women aren't always that way, are we? We should be, and they really were. And I think during the show itself, that also stood out as during the talent part, and we're sitting over on the benches, and one's warming up here while the other's performing, and then they were genuinely clapping when they were done with their talent competition. So the parallels are endless. What's different is how genuinely supportive they are of each other, and that is so refreshing.
I think that's a very valid point, especially when you think about this movement of empowering young women that is the Miss America organization. You know, the things that Sage and Chris are highlighting are not unique to our national level. It's at the local level, it's at the state level. We have thousands of young women across the country who compete for scholarship dollars, who compete for the crown, and it really is, as we call it, the Miss America family. And we have two fantastic family members here with us and great ambassadors in that. What's one thing you think that backstage, when all the craziness is going on throughout the competition, what's the one thing that people don't get a chance to see that you admire most?
Well, I tell people I'm a huge proponent of the organization as well as the competition, but I wish there was some way we could show more. You know, I think people see about 10% of the iceberg and 90% they don't see. This week, how hard these women have been competing. They've also been rehearsing for a 2-hour live television event. So even yesterday, they were rehearsing all day, and then they had to go on stage for preliminary competitions, and then we'll have rehearsal today, and then again tomorrow, and then that will lead right into the show. So these women are preparing for the Super Bowl or the Olympics, but they're also having to rehearse for it and get ready. And during the show, it reminds me a little bit of a triathlon where they're competing in something and then they have just minutes to collect themselves because they just moved on in the competition, change, get ready for talent, get ready for the question, whatever it is. I don't think people can really grasp, and it's hard for us to capture that in a live television network event, to really capture just how arduous this journey is for them and just how difficult it is and what they go through this whole week, and it all culminates tomorrow night.
And what's it like to be back here in Atlantic City inside historic Boardwalk Hall where so much of this history has taken place? Can you describe that energy you feel when the lights come on for the show at 9 o'clock?
The Beatles played here. I mean, you know, Elvis played here. There's been heavyweight boxing matches. This building has so much history to it. To be here my first time back in 2004, I was just, as she said, I was in awe. I really was. It was much bigger than I was, and it's a big place to fill, and I wasn't sure what to expect. And then when you walk out on game day, and there's 10 to 15,000 screaming fans, and that place does fill up, and the women fill the stage, and I try to explain how many moving parts there are on this show. You know, you have your host, but you have 51 women, you have the stage, you have the lights, the cameras. There's so much going on. Just your hair's on fire for 2 hours, and all of a sudden there's a crown on someone's head, and it's over. And it goes so fast. And I'm like, wait, I'm not done with this ride. It's like a roller coaster. I want to go on it again. It's something that I look forward to every year, because that high of walking out and seeing this historic building filled to capacity and hearing the roars of the crowd and everybody cheering for their states as they get announced. We both are, again, a part of sports. Being at the NCAA tournament, being at college football games, it's like that. It has that same atmosphere and that same environment.
I was going to say, I have covered everything. I've been able to achieve my dreams as a sportscaster, and covering a Super Bowl and a World Series, go Cubs, and Final Four, I mean, you name it, NBA Finals, Game 7s, all of those things. And that's what this is for these young women. But this is different, again, I think, because of the importance of it. And that will never be lost on me, especially last year I was able to bring my family, and I have 3 kids, 2 daughters, and when we left, that's what I said, what did you think of it? And I was so happy that they had gotten the message properly, which was, yes, these are beautiful young women, but did you see them answering those questions? We had a great conversation about it and how difficult that is. 19, 20, 21 years old with that kind of pressure. Are you kidding me? It's taken me 20 years to be comfortable in front of a camera on stage, and look what they're doing. And the health portion of it, which is crucial for me. My oldest is a sophomore in high school, and body image issues. So the examples that these women set by being healthy, athletic, on this stage, doing what they do, so many great teaching moments. And Chris knows I've been going through chaos in my life right now, moving across country, unhappy kids, husband, dog. Unfortunately, he witnessed it up close and personal the other day. But we got in the car to come down here from Connecticut, and my mom sent me a text that just said, listen, it's all going to work out. Take a deep breath, enjoy it, sleep. And then she said, and just remember, 20 years from now, you're going to look back on this time and say, I got to co-host Miss America, and that'll never, ever be lost on me.
Wow, wow. Thank you for those words. And you're right, especially going back to the contestants, it's grace under fire, and it's not easy to make it look easy. But somehow they're able to do that, and so do you too. I guess at this time, unless you don't have any other statements to make, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions if there are any questions for our host and co-host. Fantastic.
Perfect
Well.
night.